SLP, it's Alexandra. I'm so excited to introduce to you all Kim from Wellspan, who's going to talk to us all about outdoor summer safety. And I figured what better place than outside to introduce Kim to you all. Let's go ahead and give a big welcome to Kim.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Kim Kreider. I am a community health coordinator for Wellspan Health, and I am going to do a brief overview of outdoor summer safety, particularly tick and mosquito bite prevention and sun safety. So first I want to talk about the risks of each one. So mosquito bites, we know, can leave a red welt and be itchy, but some mosquitoes do carry a virus, and West Nile virus is the most common virus spread by mosquitoes in the US. There's also Zika virus, but currently that doesn't seem to be an issue. Tick-borne illness, on the other hand, unfortunately, is on the rise, and they have increased since 2016, 2017. And the reason some of those statistics may seem old is that's the most current stats that they have. It takes time to get those stats up to date. So in 2017, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, believes that only a fraction of the people with tick-borne illness actually report. They don't think that everybody that has it actually either knows or reports it. So it's higher than we might think. And then sun safety will be referring to skin cancer, because when we expose our skin to the sun too often and without proper protection, it can lead to skin cancer. And skin cancer is the most common form of cancer in the United States. And I did not know that as I came in to be a community health coordinator. So West Nile virus, we'll switch to that for mosquitoes. It's just a virus caused by a mosquito bite. Most people that get infected don't get sick. Some, and that's about 1 in 5, will develop a fever or other symptoms, and 1 in about 150 will develop maybe a serious or sometimes fatal illness. So we want to talk about prevention. What can we do to prevent mosquitoes from being near your home? And that is getting rid of standing water. Standing water is the thing that attracts mosquitoes the most. So one thing I'm guilty of is having flower pots outside with like rainwater in them. That's the kind of thing we want to dump over. So planters, bird baths, buckets, tires, anything that can hold water and that's near your home, make sure that you empty that out on a regular basis. If you have water containers outside, you can cover them, or you can use wire mesh with really tiny holes. So to keep the mosquitoes, they'll lay eggs in that standing water and breed. And if you have a septic tank, if you can repair any cracks or gaps, that would help too. So that's the easiest way to help prevent mosquito bites, is to make sure there are no mosquitoes near your home. So moving on to Lyme disease, it's the most common vector-borne illness. So it's just a bug, the tick. And Pennsylvania leads the nation in the number of reported cases of Lyme disease. And again, I've already said this, the CDC believes it's underreported, and there may be many more people with Lyme disease in Pennsylvania. So anyone can be infected by a tick-borne disease, but there are certain people that are at higher risk. So those are our kiddos age 5 to 14, typically because you're outside playing, right? People with outdoor jobs like landscaping or construction, or if you like to be outside a lot and you're biking or hiking or camping a lot. I want to make sure that we understand you can pick up a tick anywhere. You don't have to be out in the woods. You can just pick it up in your yard, especially if you're near high grass or things like that. So, but there are ways to prevent tick bites and ticks. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I wanted to make sure we covered the signs and symptoms of Lyme disease. And you'll see a picture here of what a bullseye rash looks like. That normally happens within 7 to 30 days after a tick bite. Not for everyone. Not everyone will get a bullseye rash. You may have fevers that come on quickly, sweating, chills, headache, fatigue, and then a facial palsy, which means kind of one side of the face sort of sags. And you want to seek medical treatment if you have if you find this bullseye rash. So you see a picture of what that looks like. So we want to know where to expect our ticks. So in order to prevent getting a tick bite, we talked about that. Out in the woods, near high grass, really anywhere that you're outside. Using bug spray that contains DEET. DEET is like this yellow oily substance, and you want so much DEET in your bug spray. So the question here is, what percentage of DEET should you get as a minimum? And the minimum, according to the Centers for Disease Control, is 20%. So when you're looking at the label of your bug spray, look for 20% DEET. You want to examine your gear, like if you've been outside hiking, or maybe it's just clothes. Pets, check them for ticks. If you shower within 2 hours of coming in from outside, you can reduce your risk of getting Lyme disease. And you also want to check your body really thoroughly for ticks after being outside. And so places, you want to check everywhere, but like under your arms, in and around your ears, inside your belly button, places that you don't easily see. And so we're going to switch out gears to sun safety. And I talked a little bit at the beginning that skin cancer is the most common form of cancer in the United States. And the odds of developing skin cancer rise as you age. And part of the reason for that is over time, we are exposed more and more to the sun. And it can be simple exposure like going out and gardening in the full sun with no sunscreen, no hat, no protective clothing. Or you're out in the sun a lot as a child without any sunscreen or protective clothing. So the earlier you can start to protect your skin, the more you're going to reduce your risk of skin cancer as you age. And I was a Florida kid, so I've learned my lesson the hard way, as have many people in my family. So I hope you practice using sunscreen at the very least. So here's where we're going to talk about prevention. UV rays from the sun can reach your body even on cloudy and hazy days. So a lot of times we'll think, it's cloudy out, I don't need sunscreen. But about 80% of the UV rays still come through the clouds. So it's important to wear sunscreen anytime you're going to be outside. The hours between 10 and 4 are the strongest and most tense sun rays. And that's why you want to make sure that if you're out in that time, particularly in late spring, early summer, that you're utilizing things like your sunscreen and hats, wraparound glasses, and protective clothing, staying in the shade, especially during those hours. I talked about this already, the clothing, your hat, sunglasses that wrap around, and also the use of sunscreen. You want at least 30 SPF or higher, according to the American Cancer Society. So 30 SPF is the minimum that you want to use. So 20% DEET and 30 SPF for your sunscreen. So this was something else I found and learned as I've been teaching about sun safety and outdoor summer safety, is when using bug spray and sunscreen at the same time, which one do you put on first? You always want to put your sunscreen on first, preferably 15 minutes before you're going to go outside into the sun, and then apply the bug spray second. And that's, again, as recommended by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And you always want to remember to follow the product label instructions. So sunscreen first, 15 minutes before you go out the door, a minimum SPF of 30. And then if you need bug spray, you would put that on second, and you're looking for 20% or higher in DEET. And so again, I'll go over those key points one more time because they're important. You want to look for 20% minimum DEET. You want to look for a minimum of SPF 30 in your sunscreen. And you're also looking for broad spectrum sunscreen. That's going to cover UVA and UVB rays. And then you're applying your sunscreen first, bug spray second, and use the products anytime you're doing activities outside to get your full protection. So Alexandra, I will turn this back over to you to see if you have any questions.
So I'm like so grateful. Like I got to learn some things from this, and that is so cool for me. And I appreciate all your honesty and how you said, like, even before you took this job, like there were some things that you learned like as you went along. And I think that really captures the message of what we're talking about all summer at Summer Learning Program. The book that we're reading is Wonder. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the book.
Love that book.
I guess that's a yes.
I have sobbed over that book.
Yes.
Holy cow. Are you reading that out loud?
We're doing a little bit of both. Yeah. So we're reading it over
Right.
Zoom sessions. And, you know, we're asking the participants to read it on their own as well, given our new format of how we're offering. And so, yeah,
Sure.
book. And it's just
Love
so
that book.
exciting because to hear you say like, yeah, I didn't know this before doing this. It just reminds me of just that the humility to be able to say like, you know, I don't know this, but I'm willing to learn it. And I think that's something that Augie definitely realizes as he goes throughout, you know, like exploring like middle school for the very first time ever. And, you know, he's stubborn and he has his moments where he's not afraid, you know, he is a little more afraid to say what he doesn't know, but as the book goes on, he definitely learns like, you know, it's okay to say things that you don't know. And I think a lot of people that Augie encounters and meets in his life also learn that skill to say like, these are some things I don't know. And with this, with summer coming around, it's really important to, you know, be safe. I'm an active hiker and runner. And so there were a lot of really, really cool things that I learned that, you know, you think you just know. And so like from now on, I know some things that I'll definitely take with me. And I'm doing some hikes coming up here soon. And so this was really cool to learn more about ticks and Lyme disease because there's just some things that I'll encounter as I'm out there. And so I was just curious, like, something, I know we talked a little bit about sun safety. And so one of the big questions I had was what could we also do, like in terms of, you know, just protecting ourselves from the sun? What could we do to stay safe in just heat in general as well? Because like, I know later this week it's going to be like 90 something degrees. And so I didn't know if
Great question.
anything you had to say about that.
Yeah. Stay hydrated for sure. For some people, that may mean something like Gatorade that has some, you know, oomph to it and not just water. But avoiding things that dehydrate you, like some coffee and things like that. You want to stick with water, preferably. Staying in the shade as much as you can. If you're not used to being out in the heat, this week wouldn't be the time to step out, you know, and try to play basketball midday if you've not been slowly acclimating yourself. And start to recognize signs that you are starting to have problems with the heat, and get yourself indoors or ask for help if you're starting to feel faint or overheated. Really important to let somebody know before, so you can get help to get indoors and get cooled down.
Yeah. We definitely were encouraged. I've been encouraging our participants and when our SLP participants, when you all watch this, you know, we definitely encourage them like get outside and be active. We're going to start doing a lot more wellness and fitness type of things. And I always encourage you all, get outside. But I think that's a great, thing to hear, is that, it is good to be outside and it is good to be active, but it's like super important that we do it in a way that's safe. So, always making sure that an adult in our house knows that maybe we're going outside to sit under a tree and read wonder, and, bring our water bottles with us as we go on this adventure with Augie. So I think that's great advice.
100%. Yep. And being under a tree with the book Wonder would be an amazing way to spend a day.
Yeah, definitely. So, as I was listening, like I really was learning a lot of stuff that I can do. It's not just stuff that little kids have to do or older adults have to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. For the only, I'll say, age requirement is babies 6 months and younger should not be out in the sun at all. And typically sunscreen is not meant for babies that small.
Good point.
Outside of that, everything that I talked about, you can start, the sooner you start practicing, specifically protecting your skin from the sun. And if I wish you could get a better view of my skin growing up in Florida, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Heat and ticks and Lymes, they can affect all of us, no matter how old we are. And so it's been great to go over all of this with you. And I'm excited.
My pleasure.
I'm excited to see what our participants learn. For those of you who do watch this later, there's some awesome bags that Kim gave all of you. Do you want to take a moment, Kim, to just kind of tell them about, like, maybe I think there was a survey or some sort of handout, and then what's in the bags?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the bags, each bag contains a full bottle of bug spray off, a tick remover. There's a particular way to remove ticks, and you will have a handout that explains ticks, Lyme disease, and how to remove a tick properly. And there's also an individual size sunscreen and lip balm. And you will have a handout talking more in depth than I could do today about sun safety and skin health and skin cancer. And there is just a 3-question survey that really hits those key points that I mentioned at the end of the presentation, just to get a sense of what folks might have learned. It's really helpful for us as community health coordinators to see if the information we're presenting is helpful, and the only way we know how to do that is via a survey. Reminder to spray before you play. Use your bug spray, put your sunscreen on, and then a little magazine from Wellspan.
Nice. I like that. Spray before you play. I'll remember that.
Yeah,
so participants and families, if you want to fill out that please fill out that survey. You can scan it back to me, take a picture of it, send it to Summer Lunch Program at Yahoo, and I'll compile them, and I will send the surveys back to you, Kim.
Awesome. That sounds great. That's super helpful for us to know what could we be doing differently to get information out. And certainly if you guys have questions too, I'd be happy to answer those as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. All right, SLP. Well, I am back outside, and let's say thank you to Kim one more time for joining us today virtually to talk to us about outdoor summer safety. I'm gonna go get some sunscreen on, keep my shades on, and stay hydrated as I enjoy this beautiful summer day. We'll see you all later this week on Zoom. Bye.